Hello, everybody. God bless you in the name of Jesus. I'm on here to talk about my interview with the leader here at the Salvation Army Oxnard Corps. In my discussion with them, I asked a few questions. I asked them to give me an example of a time when they dealt with conflict and how they responded to it. I also asked if they can give me some advice on, for me and my job in dealing with conflict, running the food pantry, dealing with the community members, talking to them. If I ever were to be in conflict with them, what would be some advice for me to use? Concerning the interview, there was a situation that the interviewee had been through in the past where they wanted some time off and they requested that time off to their leaders that were running the corps where they were at. And this was during Christmas time. We know the Christmas time is very busy for all of us here that work at the Salvation Army. The interviewee asked their higher ups if they could have a week off after Christmas. That's something that's really important to them to relax, to get their mental sanity back from a Christmas season, and to just take that time off and be with family. The leaders where they were at straight up told her no. And in that moment, it bothered her quite some bit. As you can imagine, they told her the reason being is that there's a lot of work and cleanup that needs to be done after the Christmas season. And so she couldn't take the time off. At the moment, she was mad and frustrated with the situation. So she went and talked to one of her leaders, more of a mentor to her, and they came up with the solution. The solution being to reply back, letting them know, hey, I can make sure that all of this gets taken care of before me taking the time off. If I were to do that, would you guys be able to grant me that time? And so it ended up coming to an agreement that if she took care of those assignments that she needed to take care of before the Christmas season was over, that she could take that time off. And so in that situation, how I thought that applied to what I'm learning here is that in that situation, she felt like the victim. And then also that made, her leaders look like the villain in the situation. And then also, her mentor coming alongside her played kind of, the hero. And so that's how I looked at it and how I can apply that to what I'm learning. But something that stood out to me also that I can take away from it is that she told me to not respond, in situations so quickly, not to be so quick to respond, but to take some time, maybe pray about it, think about it, and then come with your response whenever there's conflict. And that kind of situation where you have the time, every situation's not like that. You might be in a situation where, it's right on the spot. Somebody's in fight or flight, and you got to take care of it in a different way. But so that's kind of how I seen that in her interview. Also with boundaries and not being fluid with her boundaries, because I identified that because in that case she just would have rather walked away from it and not dealt with it and just went through it and felt how she felt. But no, she reached out and she let them know that it was important to her. So not being fluid with boundaries, that's another thing. And then in her advice to me, in dealing with conflict, something that I could take away from it is she just was pointing out taking that time and not be so quick to respond. And how I thought of that and how I was thinking of how I can apply that to what I'm learning here is that I can apply that in a way of, in a situation where it is right on the spot. A lot of the times people can go into fight or flight mode, and then the person on the other end of the person who's in that mode may not understand the situation or the issues that person has, the trauma that they may have. Or let's say it's the other way around, where the one who is in the leadership role goes into that fight or flight because they don't understand themselves or the trauma they haven't dealt with. I thought that her giving me the advice to take that time to think about it, step away, maybe calling another leader or somebody in that situation if you can't deal with it, and thinking about it and then going forward from there. Also, because when you're in that flight or flight mode, we know that you're not you're not thinking. You're not actually thinking the way that you should be thinking. You're using the wrong part of your brain. Um, yeah, so that's a lot of what I got out of it. I hope this video is clear and good enough. Tried my best. Thank you. Have a good day.